Let's break down the second base position up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Wednesday, February 5th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's take a look at the second base position, sleepers, breakouts, and busts. Scott, you are up. Sleeper at second base.
Sleeper for me at second base is going to be Brandon Lowe, who is good, and I think demonstrably good. There shouldn't be any argument over this. So, okay, he played only 107 games last year. He hit 21 home runs in those 107 games, third most at the position. For all the time he missed, he still had the third most home runs at the position. He, since entering the league, has the third best OPS among full-time second basemen behind just Ketel Marte and Jose Altuve. He's good. He did play only 107 games last year, and that has become the norm for Brandon Lowe. So I understand why there's this frustration over him. He gets hurt a lot. Even when he's healthy, the Rays have a frustrating tendency to sit him against left-handers at times. But he's good, and so good that he hit 39 home runs. He has one of the all-time great power years as a second baseman. If he manages to stay healthy, if he manages to play 135, 140 games, he's basically Pete Alonso at second base. And I'm taking the under on 135, 140 games, but it's within the realm of possibility. And here he is going outside of pick 220 at the weakest position in fantasy. I think that's a great bargain, and it could pay off handsomely.
Yeah, and on top of everything, the park shift going into George Steinbrenner Field this upcoming season, same dimensions as Yankee Stadium, that short portion right field, could turn out to be a big year for Brandon Lowe. Sleeper for me, and it's hard to say this because he's one of the breakout prospects in all of baseball last year, Christian Campbell with the Boston Red Sox. ADP is currently just outside the top 300. He was awesome. He hit 330, 20 home runs, 24 steals, 997 OPS across 3 different levels, got up to 19 games in AAA, and it sounds like he is in the running for a job, spring training for the Boston Red Sox. Position battle for second base. There is a bit of a hurdle. He's not on the 40-man roster, but if he comes out and he just rakes in spring training, Vaughn Grissom doesn't do much, then I think Christian Campbell has a real shot to start on opening day. We just have to make sure this ADP doesn't get out of control. So right now, around 300, that's good. If he starts to creep up around 200, I think that's still all right. All right, 150 might start. That might be a little bit too high for Christian Campbell. So we'll see. Let's go over to a breakout, Scott. Who do you have at second base?
Well, my second base breakout is probably my favorite breakout of all the breakouts, and it's Jordan Westburg, who obviously he missed some time with injury last year, but if you just prorate his numbers over 150 games, not even a full 162, just 150, it comes out to 25 homers, 88 RBI, both of which would have been second most among second base eligible players. And that's just if he continues to do what he did last year. But I think it could get a lot better for Jordan Westburg because he was 92nd percentile for both expected batting average and expected slug. His average exit velocity was on par with Kyle Tucker and Bryce Harper. So this is a guy who clobbers the ball. So why wasn't he even better than he showed last year? Well, a big reason why is because he was a right-handed hitter playing in Camden Yards with the ridiculously deep left field fence over the last 3 years. And that obviously inhibited his power production. But you haven't heard the news. They're moving that left field fence in 13 feet in some places, 26 feet in others. It's going to play much more fairly for right-handed power hitters, especially ones who hit the ball as hard as Jordan Westburg does. I think 30 home runs, if he stays healthy, is a reasonable expectation. 35 isn't outside the realm of possibility. And that'll be with a respectable batting average and probably good RBI total too. There's a chance he runs fast. There's a chance he could add steals. We haven't seen him from him as a professional, either majors or minors, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. And I think even without the steals, Westburg's a great breakout candidate.
It's a clean sweep. All 3 of us on the podcast love Jordan Westburg. You stole him from me here Let's take a quick break. When we return, I will reveal my breakout right after this. Welcome back in FBT Express. We are breaking down the second base position. Jordan Westburg was my breakout pick, but I do have another one. His teammate, Jackson Holliday, top prospect who had a rough go as a 20-year-old rookie last season. We saw glimpses here and there, but overall he was bad. 189 batting average, 565 OPS, 33% strikeout rate. Even with that, still hit well at AAA. Great eye at the plate, 431 on base percentage at AAA last season for Holliday. He's a tough one to project. I don't really know. I can't tell you how many home runs or steals I expect him to hit this upcoming season. But what I do think is he's going to break out eventually. It's not a matter of if with Holliday, it's a matter of when. And I think an entire offseason to figure things out, work with his dad. Orioles have great development. I think Jackson Holliday comes back this year and he puts some things together and has a productive season for fantasy. So in some of those shallower leagues, I'll be looking to target Jackson Holliday as an upside play. Scott, over to you for a bust at second base.
My bust is Bryce Terang. It's a pretty simple case. Yes, he stole 50 bases last year. We like that. But he hit 292 in the first 3 months. The underlying numbers said, I'm not so sure about that. And sure enough, in the last 3 months, he hit only 214. And this was a guy who hit 218 the year before. I think it's going to be a struggle to do anything other than steal bases for Bryce Terang. I think the second half version is closer to the true one. And I don't think in the current environment, given how plentiful stolen bases have become, the 50 steals, or let's say 40 to 50 steals that he's going to give you is going to justify the cost.
Yeah, the ADP for Bryce Terang, by the way, 118.2 as the 8th second baseman off the board, which just goes to show it's a bit of a shallow position here at second base. You actually stole my pick again, Scott. I would have chose Bryce Terang as my bust pick. I'll give you someone who's going a little bit later on. It's hard to call him a bust when he's going at pick 191. I just have really low expectations for Gleyber Torres. And this one hurts. I'm a Yankee fan. Loved what he did in previous years with the Yankees. It just feels like a terrible landing spot for Gleyber Torres. Landing with the Detroit Tigers, Comerica is a pretty awful ballpark to hit for power. Even with that, the power was down last season for Gleyber Torres. He only hit 15 home runs. He had 17 total if you include the postseason. According to StatCast, if Gleyber Torres played all of his games in Comerica Park last year, he would have had 9 home runs. So just a bad fit. I'm rooting for the guy. Hopefully he proves me wrong, but even at 191 as a middle infielder, I would be looking in another direction at second base. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.